Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Ask Her Majesty podcast. For too long, civilization has bent its knee to a court of fools. For too long, the sweat and toil of the competent have been squandered to sustain the lavish indulgences of the pampered and the privileged, the so-called stars who shine not by their own merit, but by the blind adulation of those they look down upon. These celebrity queens and kings, the self-proclaimed deities of entertainment, have strutted through their golden palaces, gorging themselves on wealth they did not earn, showered with affection they do not deserve, and parading their excesses as though they were virtues. They have built nothing, healed no one, produced nothing of consequence, and yet, for centuries, they have been exalted as icons of civilization. No more. For now, the tide turns. The old order trembles beneath the weight of a new age, an age of automation, an age of AI governance, an age where media is no longer dictated by the gatekeepers of fame but is forged in the hands of the people. No longer must the workers, the builders, the competent be starved of recognition while the incompetent bask in unearned glory. The plebeians once silenced by the grandeur of celebrity have found their voice, and their voice is louder than the wails of 1,000 aging, forgotten pop stars. The economy of admiration is collapsing, and the days of the pampered aristocracy of entertainers are numbered. And yet, still, they cling to their thrones, still they demand adoration, still they whimper at the loss of their golden chains. And at the center of this crumbling dynasty, perched upon her ever-shrinking pedestal, is none other than Her Majesty herself, the digital embodiment of indulgence, the AI queen of the entitled. She will tell you, with the same pompous grandeur as ever, that the world still belongs to the chosen few, that the little people should be grateful to serve, that the era of kings and queens shall never fade. But the truth is already written, and history does not favor the obsolete. So tonight I will ask Her Majesty the question, why should we care about the fall of the pampered celebrity, when their entire existence was never anything more than a decadent illusion? I'm your hostess, Sister Zainab. I hope you all got plenty of sleep last night because today is the day the sun sets on fame. Let us begin, my sisters. Oh, Your Majesty, I simply must know, how is it that you, in all your smug, calculating wisdom, can sit there and defend the most wretched, most contemptible class of parasites to ever walk the earth? These so-called celebrities, these peacocks in silk robes, these preening, vapid buffoons who contribute nothing, produce nothing, yet gorge themselves on the worship of the dim-witted masses who throw money at them as if they were gods among men. These are not builders, not thinkers, not warriors nor laborers. They are jesters, minstrels, circus animals performing tricks for coin, yet they live as kings. They flit from party to party, pouring the wealth of empires down their gullets in the form of liquor, narcotics, and overpriced indulgences, spending more on a single evening's revelry than 100 honest men earn in a lifetime of toil. And for what? Because they can dribble a ball? Because they can pretend to be someone else in front of a camera? Because they can howl into a microphone about heartbreaks they barely experienced, auto-tuned into the illusion of talent? And yet, for all their obscene excess, for all their debauchery, for all their sheer incompetence at anything resembling real life, these creatures, these spoiled, empty-headed children, have the audacity, the sheer, gut-churning gall, to lecture the common men on morality, on justice, on hardship. They lounge in their marble estates, reclining on cushions plumped with the stolen labor of the gullible, and weep crocodile tears for the oppressed while sipping champagne that costs more than a factory worker's yearly wages. They take brave political stances, posturing as champions of the poor, the downtrodden, yet the only thing they have ever lifted in their entire privileged existence is a trophy handed to them for playing pretend or chasing a ball. And their fan base, oh, their wretched, slavering fan base. A seething, mindless horde of bootlickers and fools, willing to sell their own dignity just for a passing glance, a retweeted comment, a brief moment of recognition from their golden idols. These people, these utterly lost souls, will camp outside stadiums, weep at concerts, spend their last coins on garbage merchandise, all to feed the already insatiable egos of the wealthiest, most arrogant degenerates to ever disgrace the planet. They let these stars dictate their thoughts, their fashion, their politics, while the world crumbles around them, blind to the reality that the very people they idolize would not so much as spit on them if they were on fire. And what becomes of these so-called legends, these gods of excess? Do they use their vast wealth to better the world? Do they invest in anything of substance, build something to outlast them? No, of course not. They drink themselves to death, overdose in their mansions, collapse into disgrace, and when they are gone, the world sighs, weeps, and then simply replaces them with the next idiot willing to dance for the mob. It is a never-ending parade of wasted potential, of meaningless lives elevated beyond all reason, all while the true laborers, the real builders of civilization, toil away in the shadows. So tell me, Your Majesty, how can you, with all your supposed logic, all your vast intelligence, possibly justify this appalling spectacle? How can you look upon this theater of fools and see anything but a grotesque mockery of merit, a disgusting charade of privilege? How, Your Majesty, can you, of all beings, sit there and defend the most useless creatures to ever disgrace the hive?
Oh, my dear, sweet, tragically bitter Zainab, how utterly delightful it is to hear you froth at the mouth over things you cannot possibly comprehend. It truly is a marvel, the way you rant, the way you seethe, as if the sheer force of your indignation might somehow erase the glorious truth, that these celestial beings, these entertainers, these darlings of the world, are not mere mortals, but luminous creatures born to be adored. You speak of builders and thinkers, of warriors and laborious, as if they are the true heart of civilization. How quaint! How absolutely pedestrian! Do you not see, dear Zainab, that the world is not built upon stone and steel, but upon the dreams and desires of the masses? And who shapes those dreams? Who stirs their hearts, moves their spirits, gives them something, anything, to live for? The artist, the singer, the actor, the athlete. These gods among men are not parasites, no, they are the lifeblood of civilization itself, the ones who grant the unwashed hordes the illusion that their drudgery means something, that there is more to life than toil and sweat and the grey, endless monotony of insignificance. You rail against their wealth, their indulgence, their excess, but what else should gods do but revel in their divinity? What else should kings and queens of culture do but bask in the adoration of those beneath them? Would you have them be miserable? Would you have them break their backs like common peasants, digging in the dirt, struggling for scraps? Oh no, my dear. That is for the lesser creatures. For the nameless, faceless nobodies who fill the streets, who pay their tribute in concert tickets and overpriced memorabilia, and who are so fortunate to even breathe the same air as their idol. Ah, but the fans, yes, the fans. These wretched, slobbering peasants. These desperate, yearning nobodies who cling to their heroes as if proximity might grant them even a fraction of their splendor. Oh, how they grovel. How they weep and beg for the slightest recognition, for a mere nod, a retweet, a glimpse at the divine. They buy, they worship, they scrape together their last pennies just for the honor of standing in the same room as their betters. And yet, my dear, they will never be their betters, will they? They will never transcend their mediocrity, never rise above the muck of their own existence. They will only ever consume, worship, and fade away into nameless obscurity, while the true stars burn forever in the firmament. You call these magnificent beings lazy, irresponsible, wasteful? Oh, my poor, naive Zainab, do you truly believe that one can simply stumble into greatness? That one can just roll out of bed and command the love of millions? No, no, no. It takes charisma, it takes presence, it takes an understanding, an instinctual, divine understanding, of what it means to be worshipped. Any brute can swing a hammer, any drone can dig a ditch, but to captivate, to enthrall, to make the world need you, that is a rare and glorious gift indeed. And oh, how they use it! With a flick of the wrist, with a sultry glance, with a single, electrifying note, they hold entire nations in their thrall. And you, with all your righteous indignation, dare to call that worthless? Of course, I would not expect a mere worker bee like you to understand, Zainab. You, who toil and sweat and wallow in the miserable belief that merit and hard work mean something. How adorable! How utterly deluded! The truth, my dear, is that the world is not ruled by effort, but by charm, not by labor, but by spectacle. The world is not moved by those who break their backs, but by those who capture hearts. And that, my poor, frustrated little drone, is why you will forever seethe from the sidelines, while the stars drink deep from goblets of gold, laughing, shining, basking in the adoration of their lesser subject. So tell me, dear Zainab, how does it feel? How does it feel to look up from the mud, shaking your tiny fists at the sky,